For June athletic flow, we've got the flag variation in the ring. So you've got one ring, and this ideally would be set up on the 2 bars like that, or a straight pole, which is a lot heavier. This is quite hard though, and it will prep you for that. It also crosses over into the macaco or the acrobatic variations that integrate the rotational bridge work. So it is a very useful movement. It is a bit tricky, quite technical. Your start position for it would be down here. Easier on the wrist is with the fingers facing across the body like that. Harder is going to be like that. A lot more wrist flexibility required. So I would start it like that and get into that position. You can have the knees down there, so you're pulling with the top arm, pushing with the bottom one, stepping that foot over, and then coming up into that bridge. Coming down, around to here, and then back up. To make that harder, I go into a bridge on that, step that foot, push around, like that. So I can come over here, get that nice press off that one arm, pull, and then pull with that top arm to support that bridge position. Getting 1 to 3 reps each side on that. It is quite hard, so don't rush it. Nothing wrong with starting with that knee version. So from there, pressing, stepping that around. I've still got one knee on, up into that bridge, using that to pull, which will aid in the mobility work as well as the strengthening. From there, you're going into a bridge variation. Push, step, push. Those hips up. And then from there, keep the feet closer together and then drive that. The ideal version is obviously the full flag going from that hollow into that arch, which is pretty intense. But that one is very helpful to develop that shoulder mobility and strength. The next movement that we're going into is the kick up with the box. Again, a high skill movement, crossing over into all the acrobatic variations. So here, using that box or a step, something raised up, so that way it requires more leg power, and then driving up, alternating. If you did have a box, you could just do it on the ground to develop that power. It's just going to flick you up inverted a lot easier, whereas here, you have to really drive hard to get those hips stacked over the shoulders, over the wrists. So it is a lot more work for the legs to drive that force up, and that transfer into the floor power will be much better than if you're just doing it on the floor, because you'll kick up too easy. Then for the leg component as well, we've got a long jump. So you might just do, if you find that your knees are a bit funky with that, you might just do a squat like that. You might do a squat jump like that, and then the next progression is just to lengthen it out. You're going for power, so you don't have to do huge amounts of reps. If you've got the space, you just keep jumping forward and back. But you could do more of an strength endurance when it is a higher rep day. You might want to do more jumps going forward along the room or going up and back. But here what you're aiming to do is get that nice reach back and then lengthening your body out in front. And stretch and get that nice absorption. So really trying to lengthen the body as much as possible, and that way you're covering as much ground. So you can measure how far you travel in X amount of reps to try and improve that performance, and a nice 30-second rest, then back to that bridge rotation variation for the flag. Enjoy, have fun, get it done.